enough skilled workers. And these problems are made worse by historic inflation and persistent supply chain issues. And this is not a field that offers the kind of remote work and flexibility that is becoming more commonplace after COVID. The bipartisan infrastructure law creates enough demand to fill millions of jobs nationwide, but a recent national survey found that 91% of construction firms are having a difficult time filling positions. As one economist recently stated, the industry has the work, it just needs the workers. So to address this challenge head on and to immediately jumpstart the workforce pipeline for infrastructure projects at the state and local levels, today I am announcing a new Jobs That Build initiative to help provide infrastructure workers with up to $10,000 in incentives for such things as a sign-on or retention bonus, or to pay for a training program, or to help defray child care and housing costs. We're making an initial investment of $15 million into this initiative, which is the very first of its kind in the nation. We expect that this will help bring on thousands of construction workers and ensure that more capital projects are delivered on time and on budget. The Jobs That Build initiative adds to and will benefit from all of the steps that we've taken in Maryland to knock down real-world barriers to good-paying jobs and leave no skilled worker behind. We brought the PTech model to Maryland, which gives young Marylanders the opportunity to earn an associate's degree tuition-free while simultaneously with their high school diploma, while also getting the benefit of mentors, paid summer internships, and being put first in line for great jobs after graduation. We enacted the Access Initiative, which requires every public school in Maryland to offer computer science courses. Through our renowned Earn Maryland program, we've already provided job training to over 9,000 unemployed or underemployed Marylanders. 81% of them have obtained employment. And nearly 20,000 Maryland workers have received training to earn a new certification, a credential, or skill. Last month, we reached a record milestone of 12,000 apprentices statewide by offering registered apprenticeships not just in the construction trades, but also in non-traditional sectors, including cybersecurity, information technology, digital and social media, and healthcare occupations. And earlier this year, Maryland became the very first state in the nation to formally eliminate the 4-year college degree requirement for thousands of state jobs. I'm pleased to report that this program has already led to a 41% increase in non-4-year degree hires for the state. It has already become a model for other states, and we look forward to seeing the same results with this Jobs That Build initiative that we're launching today. And it's just one more way that we're changing Maryland for the better. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Secretary Robinson, who's going to give us more details about this great new initiative.
Thank you, Governor. It's an honor to be here this morning with you and with my colleagues from the Infrastructure Subcabinet to announce this innovative workforce program. I first want to say what a privilege it is to work for a CEO who challenges all of us every single day to think boldly about our most pressing challenges and to bring forward outside-the-box solutions to move our state forward. Governor Hogan mentioned the tremendous success we've had with our non-4-year degree policy. And I want to take just a moment to thank our partner in that initiative, Opportunity at Work, for their hard work and commitment to individuals who are stars or skilled through alternative routes. A big part of why that policy is so successful and being modeled throughout the nation is because of its unwavering focus on the worker. And it's because of that focus on the worker that we're here again today to launch another groundbreaking workforce initiative. As Governor Hogan mentioned, the Jobs That Build initiative is a creative workforce solution designed specifically to knock down barriers that are keeping talented workers on the sidelines. When we incentivize the worker and knock out the barriers such as transportation, housing, and childcare costs, we will not only have a more robust economy, but we will also have the most modern and advanced infrastructure in the country. I often hear that our non-4-year degree policy that with our non-four-year degree policy, the state of Maryland effectively put out a welcome mat and we said loud and clear that we want more stars in our workforce. And I firmly believe that's what we're doing again here today. Through this initiative, we will speak with a more persuasive voice to workers and especially to the youth of Maryland to ensure that they know there is an honorable and well-paying pathway to pursue when choosing jobs that build. And I'm very happy to tell you that our Jobs That Build program is already live on the Department of Labor's website. So all employers who are engaged in the construction or maintenance of an infrastructure project or have a contract to begin one can now get more information and apply for worker-focused grants at labor.maryland.gov/jobsthatbuild. That's labor.maryland.gov/jobsthatbuild. We in the Department of Labor look forward to bolstering and growing this critical workforce that is truly rebuilding our state, one road, bridge, railway at a time. So thank you, Governor, for making this possible. And I'm now going to turn it over to my colleague and partner in this initiative, our Secretary of Transportation, Jim Ports.
Well, good morning. Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Secretary Robinson, for your steadfast leadership in ensuring Maryland has both the resources and the workforce for infrastructure for our great state. Governor Hogan is our infrastructure governor, and I couldn't be prouder of the investments that he's made that have resulted in countless projects through our roads, bridges, BWI Marshall Airport, and Maryland's Port of Baltimore. But to echo what Governor Hogan said, our contractors are definitely facing a workforce challenge. Trust me, I hear it every single day. Jobs That Build Initiative is a much-needed program that will benefit Maryland by making sure we get our infrastructure projects done on time and on budget, just like the nice Middleton Bridge, Governor. And this program is investing in Maryland's skilled workers by providing incentives like money for bonuses, housing, childcare, training, and even paying for transportation to a website. MDOT welcomes this new initiative that will bring skilled workers into the infrastructure workforce and will help them rebuild not just a job, but a career. And you might wonder who some of those young stars are that Governor Hogan and Secretary Robinson just mentioned. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am one of those stars. You may be surprised that I did not choose the college route. At 19, I began my career repairing helicopters in the United States Marine Corps. And then I came up through the trades as a licensed journeyman natural gas fitter, installing gas meters and every single appliance in your home. So I am one of those folks that came up through the trades. And a feeling of building something better and working with my hands, that helped me learn and grow. And it's led me down an exciting pathway that's available to young people who, just like me, want to be a part of something big and meaningful, but also does not require a four-year degree. So Governor Hogan, thank you again for your bold leadership, and thank you for your STARS program. As the poster child of your STARS program, I look forward to partnering with you and Secretary Robinson and the entire infrastructure subcabinet on this impactful program. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Secretary Ports. We are proud of your success and your leadership, and thank you, Secretary Robinson. And with that, we'll be happy to take any questions.
Governor, can you give an example of a project that's underway and that is either being slowed down or is in danger of being slowed down because of the lack of contractors? And then secondly, how would you put this program up so that it can continue under the next administration, or is that kind of a question mark about whether this will expire come January?
Well, I can't, first of all, I think nearly every infrastructure project in America is being slowed down by the lack of construction workers. We're still, in many cases, getting them done ahead of schedule, but I know that all of the contractors are having difficulties, and it's getting worse and being exacerbated every day. So I think it's going to make a huge difference, and I think other people around the country will try to follow our lead, just like they have on many of our other innovative programs. And I can't imagine any circumstance where the next governor would not want to help put people to work and provide jobs and skilled trades for the most important part of our economy right now. Anybody else?
Staying on jobs, Governor, you're just about to be over.
Yeah.
You doing a job search now, anything in the future?
Well, I'm excited to learn about some of these new programs because I don't have very many real skills, but maybe I could go into the construction trades or something like that. I haven't decided what I'm going to do next, but I know we're still going to keep working. I don't know exactly. I lost count, but 95 days or something. We're gonna work every one of them, and then we'll see what the future holds after that.
I'll check with you next week.
Okay.
The November election question. Dan Cox and groups affiliated with him have alluded to plans of challenging the election results if he loses. What is your response to that?
I'm not really going to get into it. Obviously, I don't think that makes any sense. I mean, I think they're still questioning the 2020 election, which, Biden won Maryland by 33 points and more than 1 million votes. And, I can't speak for Dan Cox or what he might do after the election.
Do you see a role for yourself in assuring voters that the elections were conducted in a fair manner and that the results were?
I'm sure I will be speaking. I've been doing that for 8 years, and I think the last election we conducted probably better than any state in the country, and we had no issues or problems whatsoever and had our votes all tabulated, and we're going to continue to make sure people have confidence in our election system.
During the January 6th hearing yesterday, they showed an unreleased video of congressional leaders reaching out to governors. I was just happening to know if you saw the video or if you have any comment on it.
Yeah, I caught just that segment of it. I didn't get a chance to watch much of the hearings, but I saw the clip, and it was an accurate description of what happened. And I'll take a moment to just walk you through that. I was sitting in this very room with those screens behind you on a Zoom with the Japanese ambassador when my chief of staff came in, leaned over to me, and said the Capitol's under attack. And we called an emergency meeting right away. I ordered 250 riot-trained Maryland State Police to the Capitol right away. I called up the National Guard instantly. And while I was making those decisions here in this room, Steny Hoyer, Majority Leader of the House, who is a Marylander and known for a long time, called me in a panicked way. He was in an undisclosed room in the basement of the Capitol with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and they were desperately looking for help. And they said that the Capitol was under attack, under assault. The Capitol Police were overwhelmed and overrun, and they were, scared. And I assured Leader Hoyer that Maryland State Police were already on their way and should be there any moment, that I had already activated the Guard, but that we did not have approval from the Secretary of Defense, which any other state anywhere else in the country, a governor can respond to a request. I can send the Maryland National Guard. I'm the commander-in-chief. I can send them to Virginia or to California or anywhere else, but I can't send them into the federal city without the approval of the Secretary of Defense. And I told that to Hoyer, who kind of yelled across the room to the Speaker and a Majority Leader of the Senate saying, hey, Hogan says he doesn't have approval. And Chuck Schumer, Hoyer says, Chuck says you do have approval. And I was like, well, with all due respect, Steny, I don't care what Chuck says. I'm telling you the Secretary of Defense hasn't given me approval. But we fought for 2.5 hours to get that approval. I finally got a call from Acting Secretary of the Army, Ryan McCarthy, who said, Governor, can you send the Maryland National Guard to the U.S. Capitol? And I said, we've been trying to do that for 2.5 hours. So we were the very first police outside of the district to arrive. We were the very first National Guard to arrive after D.C. And, so I was, I didn't realize there was a video of Nancy Pelosi talking to Northam, and she was saying, Leader Hoyer just talked to Governor Hogan, and this is what Governor Hogan said. They don't have approval, but I don't know what was going on the other end of the phone, but it was obviously a day I'll never forget.
What was that like to see the other side of it? You lived it and saw it
Yeah.
and experienced it yourself, but to see what was going on their end with Leader Hoyer and Speaker Pelosi.
Yeah, well, I mean, I heard, yeah, it was interesting. I only saw a short, clip of that, but I mean, I could tell that there was real, it wasn't just, hey, would you mind coming down and helping us out? It was panic. It was, there was noise outside the door. There was, the people were worried for their lives. I think, we took very quick and very, strong action, and, could have turned out much worse, I think.
In other Washington DC news, the Commanders and Dan Snyder are back in the news, and it said that they failed attempts miserably trying to get a stadium in Maryland and Virginia. Is that still off the table? Has there been any other talk with that, or do you have any insight on that at all?
I heard that there was a new big Dan Snyder story. I frankly have not read it, so I can't comment on the specifics of it. But yeah, I mean, we've been trying to work with them for 8 years on the stadium, and I guess the good news is they're still in Maryland, and they have currently no prospect of going anywhere else. We've fixed the infrastructure, put a lot of money into that region, and hopefully they'll build a new stadium there. But I can't speak for the latest machinations of Dan Snyder and what their decision-making is. It's frustrating. I mean, we had we were, very close to, reach an agreement with them on a beautiful new stadium years and years ago, but it's, they keep getting off track. They thought they were going to Virginia. Virginia, backed off and refused to give them any money. They thought they were going to DC, and DC didn't want to do it. And so they're still Marylanders, and they're still paying taxes.
Is that a team you want to be associated with right now?
I'm actually a Ravens fan.
Governor, somewhat off topic, do you have any update on the Johns Hopkins University CareFirst merger and where that's?
I'm very aware of it and very concerned about it. I don't have an update other than to say that this is a serious issue with hundreds of thousands of people's health care coverage being put at risk. I think it's very unfortunate that we have two companies, both CareFirst and Johns Hopkins, fighting with one another. And I know that there are ongoing negotiations, and we're going to put as much pressure on them as possible to reach an agreement, because open enrollment starts tomorrow, and hundreds of thousands of Marylanders' insurance can't be in a tug of war between Johns Hopkins and CareFirst, including nearly all the state employees. And so, we're not really involved, and we don't have any authority, but we're doing everything we can to encourage both sides to resolve this issue, because we don't want to put our Marylanders at risk.
We have two quick questions on the new city state's attorney in Baltimore. Mr. Bates has spoken extensively about trying to have a working relationship with Mayor Stott. Obviously, the two don't see eye to eye on everything, though. Is it possible to have a more tough-on-crime approach, like Bates says that he wants, without the support of the mayor?
Well, I sure hope so. I've been advocating for a more tough-on-crime approach since I've been governor, and we didn't always agree with the 4 different mayors or the state's attorney, but I have had very productive discussions. We had the incoming state's attorney here in the State House for a long and productive meeting about crime in Baltimore City and about cooperation with the state and federal prosecutors and state and federal law enforcement. And I didn't really know him well before, but I was really impressed with the fact that at least he's saying the right things, and he really does appear to be focused on wanting to make changes and to do something about violent crime in Baltimore, and I think that's a positive step.
But can criminals be held accountable the way that he says that he wants to, without the mayor allowing the police to enforce all of the laws on them?
Yeah, I mean, well, holding them accountable, it requires a lot of things in the process, but the state's attorney and the judges, more than anyone, are the ones, responsible for holding them accountable. I mean, the police has obviously an important role, the mayor has a role, but a prosecutor that doesn't want to prosecute criminals is not holding people accountable, and a new prosecutor that wants to prosecute criminals hopefully will make people more accountable.
Governor, regarding recreational marijuana, the president announced that he was going to pardon everyone with a federal possession. Excuse me. Have you given any consideration, or are you close to a decision on how you might handle that at the state level?
I mean, we were, way ahead of that. I mean, we passed criminal justice reform and lowered, sentences for things like possession of marijuana, I think 6-7 years ago.
What about pardons at the state level for state possession charges?
I mean, I don't know that we have too many people that are, needing pardons for marijuana in the state of Maryland, but no, I don't see us making any changes in the last 90 days.
Thank you, everyone. That'll be all.
All right, thank you.